Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a mystery that's literally written in stone, deep in northeast India. And it's a story that might just force us to redraw the entire map of the ancient world. So let me start with a question for you, a pretty wild one. What if a huge chapter of India's prehistory wasn't really an offshoot of the mainland story we all know? What if it was actually written from the east, with its roots deep in Southeast Asia? Our journey begins right here, in the Dima Hasao district of Assam. Because scattered all over these hills are hundreds of massive, mysterious stone jars. They're like silent witnesses to a time we've completely forgotten. And for almost 100 years, they've been one of archaeology's great unsolved riddles. And the crazy thing is, archaeologists today are still asking the same basic questions they were asking back in 1929 when these jars were first officially documented. Who on earth made them? When? And the biggest question of all, why? What were they for? And they're always found in these high-up places, kind of looking out over the landscape like ancient sentinels. And listen, we are not talking about a handful of rocks here. The scale of this is just staggering. At one single site, a place called Nutrablunglo, they've counted 546 of these jars. That makes it the largest megalithic jar site known anywhere on Earth. This isn't just a local puzzle. It's a globally important phenomenon. Okay, so to even have a shot at cracking this mystery, we have to hit rewind. We need to go even further back in time to look for clues in an even older chapter of Assam's past, a time of huge change that really set the stage for these incredible monuments. And that journey back in time takes us to this absolutely critical place, Daojali Hading. Think of this site as ground zero for understanding the region's Neolithic period, the New Stone Age. You know, that revolutionary time when humans started to settle down, farm, and leave the nomadic life behind. Now, at Daojali Hading, archaeologists found a very specific toolkit, a kind of cultural signature for the people who lived there. We're talking about these really unique shouldered stone axes, a special kind of pottery that's decorated by pressing cords into the clay while it's still wet, and tools for grinding up food. It all paints a picture of a farming community, which has been dated to right around 700 BCE. But among all the typical stone tools and pottery shards, there was one discovery that just didn't fit. A single clue that would send this whole investigation spinning in a totally new and unexpected direction. The game changer was this, jadeite, this beautiful, incredibly tough green stone. Here's the kicker. You cannot find jadeite anywhere in or around India. The closest places it occurs naturally are hundreds and hundreds of miles away, in northern Myanmar and southern China. This was the smoking gun. It was absolute proof of long-distance trade, connecting the ancient people of Assam with cultures far, far to the east. But that just opens up another question. Just how far back does this story go? Before these Neolithic farmers showed up, who was here? And that question, well, it throws us right into one of the biggest arguments in the region's archaeology, a real Stone Age whodunit. So it really boils down to two completely different theories. On one hand, you have these really crude stone tools found in the Garo Hills that look a lot like super ancient Paleolithic hand axes from maybe hundreds of thousands of years ago. But the other theory says, nope, these aren't ancient tools at all. They're just the garbage, the leftover flakes from making those much fancier, polished Neolithic tools we just saw. And the big problem for the ancient tools idea really comes down to geology. You see, the research showed that these tools weren't found where you'd expect them to be, deep down in ancient, sealed-off layers of earth. Instead, they were found in much younger soil. It's kind of like finding a smartphone in a medieval castle. The context just doesn't feel right. So why is there such a lack of clear, super early evidence? Well, one really fascinating idea is called the Malda Gap hypothesis. It suggests that a huge, dense, swampy forest acted like a giant natural wall, making it incredibly difficult for early human groups to migrate from mainland India into Assam. This makes it more likely that the first major, long-term settlement really started with those Neolithic people. So, let's put this all together. We have a pretty weak link to India's deep Paleolithic past, but a really strong physical link, that jadeite, pointing to the east. Okay, now, armed with that crucial piece of information, let's get back to those stone jars. And this is the aha moment, the big reveal. Those incredible, mysterious stone jars in Assam, they are not one of a kind. In fact, they have nearly identical twins in Laos and Indonesia. And this changes absolutely everything. I mean, just look at this comparison. The similarities are undeniable. The type of stone, the shapes, cylindrical, biconical, even where they're placed up on high ridges. It's almost a perfect match across thousands of miles. But the most important piece of the puzzle is in that last row. Because in Laos, we know what they were for. And that confirmation solves our mystery. Excavations at the famous Plain of Jars in Laos have actually found human bones, skeletal remains, inside and buried around the jars. This is solid proof that they were used for funeral rites, probably for something called secondary burial, where the bones of the dead were collected after some time and placed in these jars for their final rest. So you see, this discovery does so much more than just explain the purpose of some big stone jars. It fundamentally forces us to rethink and reshape the entire story of this region and its place in the ancient world. The evidence is just crystal clear. You take the jadeite tools, the cord-marked pottery, and these megalithic jars, and they all point in exactly the same direction. Prehistoric Assam was never a remote backwater of India. It was a bustling, connected heartland of a massive cultural world that stretched all across Southeast Asia. This timeline really shows you just how different Assam's ancient path was. It didn't follow the same script as mainland India. You've got a debated Stone Age presence, a huge Neolithic period with those clear Eastern links, a completely missing Bronze and Copper Age, which is a huge deal. And then this totally unique megalithic jar culture, all before the Iron Age kicks in. It's a story with an Eastern accent. And you know, this quote from the research just nails it. The things we've been looking at, the tools, the pots, the giant jars, they aren't just artifacts. They are the physical footprints left behind by an ancient wave of people, ideas, and culture that flowed from Southeast Asia into what we now call Northeast India. So Assam was never on the edge of the world. It was a crossroads, a bridge connecting different worlds. And that really leaves you with a final big question, doesn't it? If a story this foundational can be completely turned on its head, what other ancient histories that we think we know so well are just waiting to be retold?